Hey everybody, it's Secret Agent Zachary of San Jose Boston Park Show. Welcome to another talk with sports about the Pittsburgh Steelers of 2024 to the 2025 season. So, you guys probably know that we're going to be playing the Houston Texans, right? Well, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. If Pittsburgh were to go to the playoffs, here's what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you expect them to go to Houston and win down there, which I would have to agree with that. But if you guys want to go play Houston down there, I actually like that idea a lot from you guys about us going to play Houston. And you guys are like, oh yeah, if we beat Houston, who are we going to play next? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Now, the Chargers and Broncos are fighting for a playoff spot. Now, technically, when I got information about that, Pittsburgh needs to win over Cincinnati this weekend. Actually, no. Next weekend, excuse me. Next weekend, when the Steelers play the Bengals. Now, to get that, they'll play either Houston, Los Angeles, or the Chargers. And not only that, there's the three teams that are currently fighting for a playoff spot as well. Those three teams are Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Miami. Now, you guys are asking yourself like, oh yeah, would Miami be in the playoffs? They will be. And then, like, whoever fights the 7th seed, if Denver loses to Cincinnati this week, it's going to come down to that. And then if the Giants knocked off the Indianapolis Colts, which I don't think it's going to happen, because New York has been washed up. In my opinion, New York is washed up. Like, I don't know about you guys, but New York is actually washed up. They have not been themselves in a long time since they won a playoff game against the Vikings in 2022. Now, the Giants are a hit and miss, in my opinion, when they go to playoffs here and there. They don't really do it a lot. But that's my opinions about the Giants. They're either a hit or a miss. If they're good or not that great, that's something. But the Giants have not made it to the playoffs. Well, actually, they haven't made it to the Super Bowl since it was either 2011 or 2013. I think it was like 2012 or something like that when Eli Manning was around. But enough of that. But see, what I'm saying is it's like, well, okay. Pittsburgh plays Houston in the playoffs. And then, yeah, they'll play Houston in the playoffs. And then if Denver knocks off Buffalo and Kansas City, remember, Josh Allen has a broken hand. So there's a chance that Denver could knock off Buffalo. Well, because it has to do with Mitchell Trubisky. That's what your guesses are, is Mitchell Trubisky. See, Mitchell Trubisky isn't really like that good of a quarterback, in my opinion, because he doesn't really know how to throw the ball. And every time he throws the ball, it goes to different people. Remember being like, oh yeah, so that would screw Buffalo, definitely? It could, yeah. And then for Kansas City, if Mahomes gets hurt more, I'm not saying like a bad thing, but if Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, well, the thing is like he's healthy, but what I'm saying is like if he does get hurt, Carson Wentz will be their backup quarterback. So I don't know how I feel about backup quarterbacks playing for the playoffs. I mean, we had Nick Foles that took us to the Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is that if some of these teams that can knock off Buffalo and Kansas City in the playoffs here and there, we'll have to wait and see. A lot of people expect Baltimore to go to Kansas City and knock them off, which I kind of see that, in my opinion. But what I'm saying is if Denver can knock off Kansas City, there's a chance that Denver will meet Kansas City. Yes, they're playing Week 18, but what I'm saying is like if they meet Kansas City again, this is where it's going to occur. So you're looking at like, oh, Kansas City is going to knock off Denver's going to knock off Kansas City for 2 times? Exactly. Denver almost beat Kansas City this year. Now, if Denver would have defeated Kansas City, I would have seen this, to be honest. Kansas City would have been knocked off by the Denver Broncos. Now, Denver could be the team. Now, what I'm saying is, if Pittsburgh has an easier shot going to the Super Bowl, here's what I'm going to say. You guys probably may not like this out there, but here's what I'm going to say. The easiest shot for Pittsburgh will be very, very interesting. So if Pittsburgh gets in the playoffs, they will be the 5th seed going to Houston. And then if Los Angeles knocks off Baltimore, and if Denver plays Kansas City, that's where we'll play in the divisional round. We'll be playing at home in Pittsburgh for a playoff game since 2017. And you might be like, what? Yep. That's what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at. What I'm saying is Pittsburgh can play the Chargers in the divisional round. That day has never happened since 2008 when the Steelers went to the Super Bowl. About that background info. And then if Denver knocks off Kansas City in the divisional round, then what I'm going to say is we will meet Denver at Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship game. So you're like, oh, is that how Pittsburgh gets the Super Bowl? Yes. That is how they get there. I'm not lying. That is how they get there from that easy route. I mean, if you guys want to play a difficult route, that's fine by me, but you got to play a route that is really, really interesting. So, yeah, that's my opinions about Pittsburgh Steelers, about making this route work. So, yeah, I mean, you go play Houston, you go play a home game with Los Angeles, and then you play another home game with Denver. That's going to land you guys to the Super Bowl. That's how you're going to get there. So like, oh, so that'll be easy for us? Yes, it will be easy. So this would be an easier shot for Pittsburgh to get there. But if you want to play the hard route, I can explain the hard route. You guys go play Houston. If you guys want, you guys can go. Then you guys go play Kansas City, and then you guys would meet either Baltimore or Buffalo in the playoffs. But yeah, personally, I like this route better because it actually fits Pittsburgh a little better, you know, by playing the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Kansas City Chiefs, being eliminated by the Broncos in the postseason. So I actually like the idea where Pittsburgh can fit into play if they had to follow that route. And if they follow that route clearly, and if they can get in that route and avoid what is it that they want to avoid, that's a really good point. But then it all depends if the other teams can stay healthy. So that's on my opinion about the Pittsburgh Steelers, about staying healthy this season. So far they're doing pretty good. I mean, the one thing is I can tell you that fire Terrell Austin. Seriously. I don't know about you guys, but for the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of miscommunication on defense. And I don't know about you guys, but Terrell Austin needs to be fired. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Yeah, he has to go. Because we're not doing a lot of explosion plays, what we predict. And the only reason why, because we haven't really done any scoring recently. Oh, on defense? Yeah, on defense. Yes, on defense. Like, if you look at the explosions that we have not been making recently, they're all like ups and downs depending how we do. But what I'm saying is we need to have a person here and there that can help us with better defensive routes. That's what we're looking at. Don't get me wrong, our offense is doing okay. I'm starting to like what Arthur Smith is doing. I mean, 10 out of 10 for Arthur Smith, but I don't know. I feel like Arthur Smith is doing wonderful. Now, the only thing is about quarterback. I'm going to talk about quarterback with you guys. Russell Wilson hate to break it to you, but I don't think he's really our leader for the Steelers. The only reason why I say that because, I don't know, my brother looked at me, he's like, oh yeah, he's like Big Ben. Like, not exactly. It's just like, well, we want something more completely off the handover. And the other thing is, Pittsburgh needs to get a new receiver. That's going to be the big issue for Pittsburgh. And then I heard a news article today that they could be trading Mike Williams. I don't obviously know if they will, but I could see that happening actually, because Mike Williams, well, I don't know. I mean, he's slowly putting in work with the Steelers, but not really that much, in my opinion. But I like to see more of him this season if he's able to turn around. But the truth is, I just want to see him come out and do bigger bursts for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's my thoughts on Mike Williams. Is like, he comes out, do bigger bursts, and that's all I have to say about him. Like, what I'm saying is, like, I want more explosions from Mike Williams. If he can get them, I think the Steelers might have a good shot. And then the other thing is, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they can find ways to go to the Super Bowl and go that easier route with them playing the Chargers, they'll be playing the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Texans. Then what I'm saying is, like, you take the Texans, you win there, you go play in Pittsburgh, play the Chargers, and if you guys can play the Broncos, that's how you get in to go to the Super Bowl. That is where you guys should be. Now, if you guys want to play difficult teams, you go play Buffalo. You go play Kansas City. And you play Baltimore. I mean, the one team I think that I would get past first, if we're able to play those difficult teams, I would say maybe Buffalo. If Josh Allen undergoes surgery this season, which he might do, I could see that happening, but I don't really know if Josh Allen's going to be fully right with that broken hand. That's on my opinion. Because that broken hand he has isn't going to help Pittsburgh, isn't going to help Buffalo win games. Like, he throws with his right hand. I don't know about you guys, but then if it's going to occur him a lot throughout the games, I could see Buffalo getting eliminated right there, and then Denver can knock off Kansas City. And can I say something? I'm impressed with Bo Nix, like how he does. I mean, there's a lot of history making that I'm liking from the Steelers so far this year that we couldn't do. We were able to beat Denver this year in Denver, which we weren't able to do in the past because Denver... See, playing in Denver, in my opinion, is always difficult. But then when we played in Denver, I'm surprised we actually won in Denver. And then for the past 2 years, playing in Las Vegas, I actually like that game, actually. Like, we haven't won at the Raiders since 1995. Wish we could have beat them in Oakland in 2018. That would have been good, actually. But someday, if there was an Oakland NFL team out there, I don't think there will be an Oakland NFL team because Oakland's getting dangerous all of a sudden with all that heavy crime rate up there. But, yeah. But lots of history in the making for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, over to the NFC side, if I had to choose one team I think Pittsburgh should go play in the Super Bowl, I mean, we have Detroit, we have Minnesota, Philadelphia. Now, if the Super Bowl were to be the Battle of Pennsylvania, I would like to see Pittsburgh and Philly meet each other for that Super Bowl this year. So in my opinion, we would have the Pennsylvania Bowl. Everyone's like, what? You want the Pennsylvania Bowl this year? Yep, the Pennsylvania Bowl. And they're like, oh, the Pennsylvania Bowl. Yeah, where you have like 2 bowl games. I wish they made that tradition every year. So that way, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia can meet each other. And then everyone's like, oh my God, we get the Battle of the Year, the Pennsylvania Bowl. I'm like, yeah, the Pennsylvania Bowl. So, and then everyone would be like, holy shit, this is a Pennsylvania Bowl. I'm like, yeah, it is. And there you go. There's your Pennsylvania Bowl for Super Bowl 59. Now, a lot of people think that the Pennsylvania Bowl is very special, which it kind of is. Like, I just wish that they would create it and then be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Speaking of awesome, Cleveland, on their hand, is getting a new brand new NFL stadium. Now, how I feel about it is interesting about it, but a lot of people suspect that this will be first Cleveland's NFL team to host a Super Bowl, which I would have to agree with. But a lot of people think like, oh, indoor stadiums are better. I'm like, no, outdoor stadiums is what you want to see, not indoor stadiums, for crying out loud. Now, if I had to go to a Super Bowl this year or next couple years, I would love to go down there. But yeah, not much I can say about the Super Bowl. But I will say this though, you guys. The Super Bowl for 2025, I'm going to say Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. If it were to happen, I would love to see it, in my opinion. But I don't know if we'll have both those teams. So, yeah. And then, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it plays out this year. So, yeah. And then, following the route a little bit more on the other side for the playoffs. Now, if Denver were to go meet Kansas City in the playoffs, I'm gonna see that. And then if I'm definitely gonna see that actually from Kansas City and Denver. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that plays this year with Kansas City and Denver if they meet each other again in the playoffs. And the Chargers have not won a Super Bowl, in my opinion. They actually did not. There's a lot of NFL teams out there that have not won a Super Bowl. The two Ohio teams have not won one yet. Neither did Los Angeles Chargers. And then you have, who else? Minnesota, Detroit. And then I believe now there's a lot of teams that have not won a Super Bowl in a long time. Then Buffalo hasn't won one either, so yeah. I mean, it's getting kind of annoying, isn't it? Like, you still can't get past Kansas City, and yet you guys get bullied. Now, I did look up information how Kansas City was cheating games. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but Kansas City has been making for explosion plays for the past 8 years in 2016. Well, technically, this started around 2015. So what they did was actually they keep recruiting receivers here and there. I looked at some of their highlights and I'm like, you know what? They're recruiting every wide receiver that they can get. Because every year Kansas City has the same exact problem. Is that, oh, we need a wide receiver. Oh, we need a wide receiver. I'm like, for the love of God, you don't need a wide receiver to make it one good team. You only need like 2 or 3. You don't need like 4 or 5 wide receivers to make you a good team to win for the number 1 seed. And it's like, we don't want to even see all this. It's just getting annoying. Like, yeah, I mean, like the teams out there are trying to Kansas City can't even beat them. And I'm like, I'm going to have to agree with you guys because look at what they all did. It just wasn't like what we expect from Kansas City. Like, for them to make the number 1 seed, I kind of hate it, in my opinion. But yeah, that's going to need a change from Kansas City if they can figure out how to give people chances. And it's like, yeah, I can see what you're saying, but there's no reason for them to get cocky and say, oh, we're the number 1 seed, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, that's not what we want to see from Kansas City. We just want to, like, see Pittsburgh or some other team that can get the number 1 seed, like Baltimore, for one experience. Baltimore should be the one that, well, last year Baltimore carried the number 1 seed, and that was good of them. But what I'm saying is we need new teams that can make the number 1 seed other than Kansas City and Baltimore in the AFC. So, like I said, I just want to see like new explosion plays with new teams. For example, Buffalo should be the number 1 seed. Pittsburgh should be the number 1 seed. I just want to see new teams that can be the number 1 seed other than Kansas City. That's what I would really love to see. I just want to see someone different, like for the next couple years, other than Kansas City and Baltimore fighting for the number 1 seed. I just want to see someone clinch the AFC a little bit, someone brand new. Someone brand new for next year, or someone that's other than Kansas City. I just want to see someone that can get that number 1 seed and say, hey, this is who we are. We just want to be that new team to be the number 1 seed. We don't want to be a team that's like crappy, but the route we need to take is very simple. It's either we get the number 1 seed by that team, or we play it out by ear and we get someone new to play that team for the number 1 seed. So, in my opinions, I feel like we should get the number 1 seed. But again, I'm not sure if Pittsburgh will ever get the number 1 seed for next year. But listen to me. Pittsburgh has not been the number 1 seed for a very long time. And that's another thing with Pittsburgh. It's like they haven't been the number 1 seed for a long time. I don't know what year that was, but we'll have to look into that. So we'll see. But then just looking at it now, I mean, Kansas City is like being New England for 1 instance. Like they copied everything from New England, what they did for the past couple years in a row, how they managed to mimic the Patriots' ideas. I'm not saying that they're trying to do that, but they're trying to look for another AFC Championship game with New England in it, which I highly doubt that's not going to happen. But, however, New England used to be the bullies in the past when they defeated Kansas City. And now this is an opposite universe that you're looking at right now. And now Kansas City is like being New England, and then New England's being like Kansas City. That's a whole other level that you guys are watching from Kansas City. I mean, they're like being like Tom Brady and Gronk and Julian Edelman. And here you have, on Kansas City, you have Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh my God, there's just so much that on that Kansas City Chiefs team I can't even explain. Then they have DeAndre Hopkins. That's McKenzie's core stronger. And you're like, oh shoot, so the core is your biggest concern? Yeah, that core from Kansas City is your biggest concerns. But your key idea to shut down Kansas City is to cover the receiver, stop the run, and then on offense you have to make sure that they can't get to you when you go into the playoffs. Now, your biggest concern about Travis Kelce, triple him in directions. Then the key idea is to stop the run on Kelce. That's your biggest concerns with Travis Kelce. You want to stop the run on Kelce. You want to stop him from getting open in the field. What you need to do is you need to have free corners in that area to help you secure Kelce in that vicinity. That's how you're going to beat Kansas City. But then, if you guys corner him too much, now what the idea is you don't want to get flagged for anything. You just want to turn away from him looking the ball. But yes, that is pass interference. Yes, it is. But what I'm saying is, it has to be not catchable, where the refs can't reach him to get that ball to Travis Kelce. That's the plan. Travis Kelce is your biggest concerns for Kansas City. And then the idea is, if the offensive lineman is protecting Mahomes, you need to get there quickly as possible. and fight Jawan Taylor and Chris Jones. Well, actually, no. Jawan Taylor's the biggest concerns right now. That offensive lineman for that core, that's how Kansas City wins games like this. It's like it goes two different directions. The offensive lineman helps Mahomes, and then you have the wide receiver running core. So it's the entire offense what you're concerned about is, but yeah, but defense, they have not been good for the past couple years. Now, your biggest worries is probably going to be the defense for Kansas City, if you're on that stacked the area. Now, if you want to be stacked with Kansas City's defense, here's what I would say. Now, I don't like how Pittsburgh and Kansas City meet each other late in the season. I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to get annoying when we meet them late in the season. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is a good matchup." I'm like, yes, it is, but I want to see something early in the season. Like, no, we don't want to play Kansas City because of the money. We want to see Kansas City early in the season, not late in the season, because they're fighting for the number 1 seed. And that's why I don't feel like going out there to play Kansas City, because they're always trying so hard in the late season. I'd rather see them in the beginning of the season. So everyone's like, okay, so you're already seeing for week 1? Yes, I'd rather see Kansas City week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, or 10. Somewhere between week 10. No, nothing late in the season. It cannot be late. I'd rather see something like that, on my opinion. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about Pittsburgh and Kansas City if they had to meet each other again. I say somewhere between early in the season it's good, so they can't try anything. But I just want to see something different from Pittsburgh and Kansas City if they had to win. See, Pittsburgh has not beaten Kansas City since 2017. I'm not making that up. Pittsburgh has not beaten Kansas City since 2017. And everyone's like, oh, really? That long? Yes, it has been that long. Kansas City has been owing Pittsburgh for the past couple years. And if you look at the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they cannot even get past Kansas City. And you're like, is that a bother problem?